As November approaches, Europe braces for its annual transformation, autumn's final act before winter's arrival. Across the continent, the last traces of warmth vanish, replaced by crisp air and bare branches. From the Mediterranean to Scotland, weather becomes a powerful force, shaping daily life and industry. November is notorious for its meteorological drama, as Atlantic storms sweep east, bringing rain and wind. These systems dictate not just our weekends but also impact agriculture, transport, and energy. Each region experiences this shift differently, influenced by geography and climate. Our journey into the November 2025 forecast will be guided by one of meteorology's most respected tools. By examining these forecasts, we'll uncover the key areas likely to face significant rainfall and the atmospheric drivers behind them. Modern weather forecasting relies on supercomputers and advanced models, not just observation. At the heart of European prediction is the ECMWF, the gold standard in medium-range weather forecasting. The ECMWF model simulates the atmosphere using millions of data points from around the globe. It projects how temperature, pressure, wind, and humidity will evolve, creating a detailed 3D forecast. Its accuracy, especially for 3 to 10 days ahead, makes it essential for anticipating major weather events. The ECMWF also runs an ensemble forecast, 51 variations to gauge confidence and uncertainty. When most ensemble members agree, forecasters can be confident. When they diverge, uncertainty is high. For November 2020 year, Ferdel, Werdau, Endel, Indel, Bai, Inden, Inster, Endel, Endelwer, Fork Moksur, Signing Desta Buying, Endawi Kurdil. So are then the patterns the ECMWF model highlights most consistently. The ECMWF forecast for early November 2025 reveals a classic autumn pattern across Europe, with the continent under the strong influence of the Atlantic. This setup is typical for the season, as the jet stream strengthens and steers weather systems from west to east, shaping the climate for millions of people. A powerful low-pressure system, currently swirling to the northwest of the British Isles, is the main driver of this pattern. It pulls in moist, mild air from the Atlantic, pushing it eastward and setting the stage for widespread unsettled weather. This means frequent rain, gusty winds, and rapidly changing conditions, especially for the UK and Ireland. Active weather fronts stretch from the Iberian Peninsula through France and into Germany, concentrating the heaviest rainfall along this corridor. Urban areas like Paris and Madrid can expect periods of heavy showers, while rural regions may see localized flooding and waterlogged fields. To the south, high pressure dominates, bringing calmer, drier conditions to the Mediterranean basin. Coastal areas in southern Spain and Italy will enjoy tranquil weather, with plenty of sunshine and only a slight chance of rain, offering a sharp contrast to the stormier north. Scandinavia, meanwhile, faces a different story. Here, colder air is settling in, and the likelihood of sleet or snow increases, especially in higher elevations and northern regions. Early winter scenes are already appearing in parts of Norway, Sweden, and Finland. This strong west-to-east zonal flow allows Atlantic storms to sweep rapidly across Europe, bringing repeated bouts of wind and rain. Fields and forests across the continent will feel the brunt of these systems, with little time for conditions to settle between each wave. The alternative, a blocked pattern with persistent high pressure and settled weather, is not in the cards for early November. Instead, the atmosphere remains dynamic and ever-changing, with little sign of prolonged calm. All in all, the forecast points to an active, storm-driven start to the month for much of Europe, with frequent rain, gusty winds, and a true taste of autumn's power. As November unfolds, the Iberian Peninsula finds itself at the crossroads of two very different weather stories. The region is split by dramatic contrasts, with the atmosphere setting the stage for a tale of extremes. Deep Atlantic moisture streams in relentlessly, targeting Portugal and northwestern Spain. Here, heavy, persistent rainfall soaks the landscape, swelling rivers and raising the risk of flooding in both urban and rural areas. Communities brace for days of wet weather, as the Atlantic's influence dominates the skies. As this powerful system pushes eastward, western France is next in line. Towns and countryside alike prepare for soaking rains, with the threat of localized flooding. Meanwhile, central and eastern France experience more sporadic, sometimes thundery downpours, making for unpredictable and unsettled conditions. In stark contrast, southern and eastern Spain bask under dry, tranquil skies. Here, Mediterranean high pressure acts as a protective shield, keeping rain at bay and allowing for bright, sun-filled days. This sharp divide creates a dramatic rainfall gradient across the peninsula, soaked and stormy in the north, parched and calm in the south. The difference is striking, visible even from the air. France mirrors this pattern, with the west drenched by steady rain and the east seeing only scattered, patchy showers. The weather can change in just a few kilometers, leaving some areas waterlogged while others remain relatively dry. These sharp contrasts highlight how a single weather system can produce vastly different outcomes across surprisingly short distances, shaping daily life and local landscapes. For agriculture, this rain is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it replenishes vital reservoirs and provides much-needed moisture for future crops. On the other, it can threaten harvests, waterlog fields, and delay crucial farm work, forcing farmers to adapt quickly. The vulnerability of Atlantic-facing regions to these autumn patterns is a recurring theme, shaping not just the weather, but the rhythm of life along the storm-battered coasts year after year. As the front moves east, Central Europe, Germany, Benelux, and Switzerland becomes the main battleground. Persistent rain is expected, especially where moist air rises over uplands like the Ardennes and Alps, increasing flood risk. Major rivers such as the Rhine and Danube will be closely monitored. Further east, Poland, the Czech Republic, and Austria will see delayed but significant rainfall, followed by a sharp temperature drop as colder air sweeps in. This unsettled pattern means rapid weather changes, rainy spells, brief clearings, then more rain. Such variability challenges commuters, farmers, and anyone working outdoors. Staying updated with forecasts is essential for managing these shifting conditions. Early November in Central Europe will be defined by this stop-start, wet and windy rhythm. For the British Isles, early November brings a familiar mix of blustery winds and fast-moving showers. The landscape is shaped by the relentless push and pull of Atlantic weather systems, a pattern that has defined autumn here for generations. As the days grow shorter and the nights colder, the region braces itself for another round of turbulent weather, with locals well accustomed to the ever-changing skies. The ECMWF model predicts frequent, heavy showers, sometimes with hail or thunder, driven in from the Atlantic. These showers can arrive suddenly, catching even seasoned residents off guard, and often leave behind glistening roads and swollen rivers. The power of the Atlantic is unmistakable, as each new system sweeps across the coast, bringing with it bursts of intense rainfall and the occasional rumble of thunder. Western coasts and hills will see the worst, with relentless rain and gusty winds battering exposed areas. Meanwhile, eastern regions will enjoy more dry spells, though it remains chilly and windy everywhere. Even on clearer days, the air carries a sharpness that hints at the colder weeks ahead, and the ground rarely has a chance to dry before the next band of showers arrives. In Scandinavia, Norway faces intense showers and the season's first significant mountain snows, with blizzard conditions possible at higher elevations. The mountains become a battleground between rain and snow, and travel can quickly become hazardous as conditions deteriorate. For many, this marks the true arrival of winter in the north. Sweden and Finland, more sheltered from the direct Atlantic onslaught, will still see a mix of rain, sleet, and snow, especially in the north. The forests and lakes of these countries take on a wintry appearance, with icy patches forming overnight and a damp chill lingering in the air. In Lapland, the first hints of the long winter to come are unmistakable. The key feature is the temperature. Arctic air will bring widespread frosts and a wintry feel. Fields and rooftops sparkle with morning ice, and the ground remains hard and unyielding. Each sunrise reveals a landscape transformed by cold as the region settles into the first true taste of winter. This is a textbook example of a polar maritime air mass dominating the region. Cold, moist air from the north and west sweeps across the land, fueling showers and keeping temperatures low. The clash of air masses creates dramatic skies and unpredictable weather, a hallmark of this time of year. The British Isles and Scandinavia will experience the full force of Atlantic and Arctic influences. From crashing waves on the coast to snow-laden forests inland, the weather will leave its mark on every corner of the region. Residents must adapt quickly, as conditions can change in a matter of hours. November's start will be a test of resilience for these northern regions. Communities will rely on experience and preparation to weather the storms, as the familiar story of Atlantic influence plays out once again, ushering in another season of dramatic, ever-changing weather. In contrast, the central and eastern Mediterranean begins November under high pressure and calm conditions. Italy, the Balkans and Greece can expect dry, sunny weather and mild temperatures. The western Mediterranean, closer to the storm track, may see isolated heavy showers or thunderstorms, especially near the Balearic Islands and Corsica. Warm sea temperatures can fuel sudden, intense storms if colder air slips south. While the large-scale forecast is tranquil, meteorologists remain alert for localized downpours. November can be volatile in the Mediterranean, but no major storms are expected at the month's start. The region will see a north-south divide, some cloud and rain in the north, peaceful weather in the south. Southern Italy and Greece look set for a calm, pleasant beginning to November. In Eastern Europe, Romania, Bulgaria, Ukraine, and the Baltics, the Atlantic storm's impact is muted. Weakening fronts bring patchy rain, but the main story is the arrival of much colder air from the northeast. As Siberian air pushes west, temperatures drop sharply, with widespread frosts and the first real taste of winter. Precipitation shifts from rain to sleet and wet snow, especially in the Baltics and northern Ukraine. This marks the start of winter for many, with the Siberian high beginning to assert its influence. The battle between lingering Atlantic mildness and advancing continental cold is underway. November's opening days capture this transition, with cold air poised to dominate the region. Eastern Europe is set for a chilly, early start to winter. From Spanish downpours to Baltic snows, November 2025's forecast reveals a continent in flux. The ECMWF model highlights a major Atlantic storm system and the growing influence of cold, dry air in the east. These forecasts are vital for preparation, helping individuals, emergency services, and industries plan ahead. Flood alerts, travel adjustments, and energy demand predictions all depend on accurate outlooks. Farmers and businesses use this information to protect crops and livestock, or to schedule critical work. Our society is deeply linked to the weather. Good forecasts empower us to adapt and thrive. As November unfolds, patterns will shift, so staying updated is key to safety and resilience. Trusting reliable sources like the ECMWF ensures we're ready for whatever Europe's dramatic autumn brings.